Hey world, what up? Another bottom Western Conference team I'm going to cover here today. We're going to be De'Aaron Fox and the Sacramento Kings. Now, kudos to De'Aaron Fox, man, getting paid. I think around a couple months ago he signed the extension for 5 more years, over 200 mil, somewhere in that mix. So the young cat got to get paid. He is going to be a future All-Star in this league. He's kind of like I'm not going to put him on the same level as a John Morant because John Morant can get you more wins out there on an impact level, but he's somewhere. He's probably a tier right below him, but he's got high potential. De'Aaron Fox is going to be one of the best point guards out there in the league in the next 4 years or so. Now, I don't think he's going to be the top of the top, but he'll be somewhere in that mix. The Sacramento Kings, if we're looking pretty much at the end of this season, they are sitting at a 12 seed, 25-37 record. There are 6 games behind the play-in tournament of the 10 seed. So they're not going to get in, and I fully expected the Kings to miss the playoffs this season, and I was pretty much kind of correct on that, where they're at. I don't remember where I had them in the standings, but that's pretty irrelevant. I had them pretty much missing the playoffs by a good shot. So that's number one. Number two, the Kings are in a weird situation, man. The Western Conference is always stacked as it is. You always have established, franchises, management that makes key trades and key roles. So you rarely see any teams in the Western Conference that are just as toxic as can be. Now, with the Western Conference as it is, the bottom teams are the Rockets since they let go of James Harden, and they're just hitting that big rebuild button. The Wolves have had injuries, so that's on that. The Thunder, they're already hitting that rebuild by collecting first-round picks by Sam Presti. Then you have the Kings in that picture as well, but they got some nice young cats out there for potential, but I mean, for De'Aaron Fox, he cannot be, personally for me, he can't be your number one guy going forward, especially to go deep in the playoffs and kind of build that franchise around. As a number two option, that'd be very ideal for them. So no one's going to go to Sacramento. They got to work through the draft number one, if two, through trades. But you do have Vlade Divac out there, which is horrendous. It looks like they're trying to let go of Buddy Hield, which he needs to leave that franchise. He's 27. He needs to go to the Eastern Conference. He needs to get into the playoffs, man. Buddy Hield needs to go. Who else out there? They do have Hassan Whiteside. They brought in for a 1-year deal for around $1 million. I'm shocked they did not buy him out as it is, because they're not going to make the playoffs, and why are you going to have Hassan Whiteside, who's around 30, 31 years of age? They need to buy him out. And what other young guys are there? Marvin Bagley, him as well. You're pretty much going to have to build this team around Marvin Bagley, De'Aaron Fox, and you have seen the emergence of Tyrese Halliburton, their guard. Besides that, Buddy Hield needs to be traded off. Harrison Barnes needs to go. And I will look to buy out Hassan Whiteside. I'm not too crazy about their head coach when it comes to Luke Walton, especially whenever he was with the LA Lakers and how he dismissed and dishandled the Lonzo Ball situation. But I don't see anything too crazy about the Sacramento Kings. They have to work through the draft and find some young, just some young pieces people have kind of overthrown and work the potential in them. But the West is stacked as it is. This is not going to be the East where you can be like the Knicks and pretty much take advantage of a franchise that season, or a weak conference that season, and get into the playoffs. I don't expect that with any Western Conference teams, but who knows about it. This is a long introduction. Let's just jump in.
Next guest is a fourth-year guard with the Kings, averaging a career high in points. Mr. De'Aaron Fox, welcome back to The Jump.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
We loved you here when you were a rookie, and now the progress you have made, it's been going up every year, but boy, the month of March just has been great for you. You've been averaging more than 29 points per game. You are in the top 5 in the entire league for the month, marking your highest scoring month of your career. What has clicked for you? How's this working?
Wow. He's been in the league on the Kings for 4 seasons. His first season, he'd give you around 12 points a night. The next season, 17. The next, 21. And now he's giving you 25 points a game this season on 47% shooting. Yeah, again, De'Aaron Fox, for his 4th season, man, I'm telling you, in the next 4 to 5 seasons, he's going to be one of the top point guards out there.
It was one thing, definitely free throws, making my free throws, knowing the rate that I get to the line at, Just knowing if I shot free throws at a higher rate, then obviously my scoring will go up and I can put my team in better positions to win. And I think that's what I've been doing, honestly.
So what did you do to improve your three-throw percentage? Did one of the assistant coach like bonk you in the head with the broom every time you missed it, or what's going on here?
Nah, I just started making them in the game.
That's it?
People
that
sit there
easy?
like, people sit there like, man, you need to get in the gym and this and this and that and that. And I mean, that's what we do. Like, we end practices making free throws, make a certain amount in a row. After I do that, Rico and I, then we do 2 swishes. If I end up missing one, that adds a swish at the end of the free throw. So,
Okay.
I mean, we did the same thing over and over and over again. And right now, I'm just making them in the game. That's pretty much the only difference.
All right, kids out there, you want to improve yourself at the line, 2 swishes. That's the way to mechanic yourself up. The Kings are hot overall, again, largely thanks to you, but you guys are making a push to jump into that play-in range, 7th through 10th in the West. I assume if you guys made it, it would feel exciting. How does it change the way you manage this season to have that play-in option?
I mean, it's definitely different. Usually you're fighting for that top 8. Obviously, we still want to get there because if you can get to, if you can be in that top 8, then it gives you a better chance of making the playoffs anyways by only having to win 1 game rather than having to win 2. So that for sure. And for us, we're just continuing to play and do what we do. Now that we're getting better defensively as a team, that's one of the reasons that we're starting to win games. I mean, we've had
real quick, I made a video about this a couple of days ago. I don't like about this new playing tournament that's going to be permanent for the next following seasons in the future in the NBA, where you have the 7th, 8th, and 9th, 10th seeds. You have a weekend around 3 days or so where you have the 7th versus the 8th seed, and then you have the 9th versus the 10th. So the 7th and the 8th seed, whoever wins that, they're locked in the 7th seed. The loser would have to play against whoever wins the 9th and 10th seed, and then whoever goes from there locks in the 8th seed. I don't like that, man, especially if your team in the 7th or 8th seed. You deserve to be in the playoffs. You worked hard that season. You grinded. You did your thing. You should be locked in. You don't have to be in the play-in tournament where if you lose 2 games as a 7th seed, then you jump from a 7th seed to a 10th seed like that. I don't like that. But knowing the NBA and the liberal agenda, and as well as for ratings and money and all that, whatever.
a top 10 offense in the league since the beginning of this year. So we know that, that side of the ball, it definitely isn't the problem.
Yeah, and look, there's scoring, but then there's also scoring in the clutch, right? And you in particular, your 4th quarter scoring has really uptick, really shot up. How have you been?
In a team if you're a veteran team who's been struggling the whole regular season, if you get a 9th or 10th seed, that is ideal for you. But if you're a young team like the Grizzlies, especially last season, who overperformed in the regular season, especially with John Moran as a rookie, and you had the 8th seed, you should have been in the playoffs, but then there was that play-in tournament to where, again, a veteran team that was underperforming with injuries and yada yada with the Portland Trailblazers and Dame, you have only 1 game to where you can get in that play-in tournament to the playoffs. So that's a disadvantage to young teams up and coming. If you're in the 7th through the 10th seed, you're most likely going to get bounced out with the 1 game against a veteran team. So I don't like that, man. I don't like that.
Able to elevate your games in those do or die moments?
I'm a night owl, honestly. So guys tell me it looks like I don't wake up until the second half begins. And
Though has really he's been playing well, and you guys have taken off as a pair really since he was started into the starting lineup. How have you been able to develop that chemistry so quickly? Why is it working with you guys?
it's crazy with you saying the old guy thing. So I'm 23. I'm in my 4th year, and I feel so old. Like Tyrese was born in 2000 or 2001, one of the years. And he said something about Lou Will. This is just because we were talking about Malik. We were talking about Malik. And he was talking about Lou Will. And I kind of looked at him. Me and Harry, it was Harrison, Rico, and Tyrese and I were shooting free throws. And he said something about Lou Will. And like, bro, Lou Will just averaged 20 last year. Like when Lou Will had 40, it was just like, oh, that's Lou Will being Lou Will. And it's like, I was like, wow, this dude was really born in 2000. Like, it's crazy. But I mean, he has such a great feel for the game that it's kind of, he makes it easy. He makes it easy for everybody. And
this is a nice building block in the rebuilding direction with Morgan Bagley, Tyrese, and De'Aaron Fox. I mean, he's giving around 13 points a game. 47% shooting, and from 3-point range, he's giving around 40%. So, he's a nice guard out there, 6'5". It'd be nice for them, but the Kings, they have a lot more makeup to do. And pretty much they got to rely on with the West, man. You got to rely on injuries. You got to rely on teams just not clicking. It's tough out there, man. Even look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, how hard it was for them to. I mean, they didn't even make the playoffs. They only made it that one season because they forced themselves by getting Jimmy Butler and vets. But besides from that, young teams trying to build themselves into the playoffs, rarely going to see it happen, man. It's most likely just veterans out there. Very hard in the West.
Since he's been in the starting lineup, the scoring has, for myself, has risen a lot because he's such a good playmaker. I can play make, but he takes that load off of me. So he makes it just so much easier for all four guys.
Season, how hard did she push you?
This is just MTV talk, so I'm kind of done with that. De'Aaron Fox will be a future All-Star in this game. He is pretty close, but knowing the All-Stars out there in the West, it's stacked as it is. I mean, you have Steph Curry. You have – oh, man, my mind went blank. I can't even think right now, but you have a bunch of superstars and All-Stars out there in the Western Conference. De'Aaron Fox, actually, yeah, you had Chris Paul, you had Devin Booker, and so on and so forth. But De'Aaron Fox, his season and time will come within, I would say, around the 2024 NBA season and above. The late 2020s, basically. When he's around 26, 27, you're entering your peak in that range. That's when the Kings are going to be more formidable. He signed a 5-year extension. He wants to be the man over there. So they're going to give it to him. They'll probably make around 2 to 3 playoff appearances. I don't expect too much with the Kings, but who knows about that? I mean, in 4 seasons, he's down to averaging around over 25 points a night, so that's good to see if you're the Sacramento Kings. Do I expect them to make the playoffs next season? No. Do I expect them to make the play-in tournament? Possibly, but who knows about that? I'm going to leave it on there.